welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to M-Class Podcast.
Oh, it's my favorite show about Star Trek and the world of Star Trek.
It's my favorite show that Josh and I do together. M-Class Podcasts.
We've done a few other ones.
It's true, we have done quite a lot together because we're friends. Josh is like, oh, I gotta get out of here.
I gotta edit that out.
Let me edit that. I'm Jeff.
Hi, I'm Josh.
And on this show, we sat down with a piece of Star Trek media. We pick that bitch apart, say dirty words a lot, and talk about our feelings.
Talk about wieners and butts and serious things like plots.
Serious things like butts.
Wieners going into butts.
Whoa! I get X-rated in this baby.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no one's going to know what that means.
No one's going to get that unless you're a patron.
You'll find out the meaning of that joke if you donate money at patreon.com/mclasspodcast. So this week, we're going to be talking about the Enterprise episode Carbon Creek.
Oh, I love this episode.
Which is the finale of the Rich Masters Past Lives collection.
Oh my god, it's been a long time.
We need to pick what our next collection is going to be.
I hate when I don't like this because it's like stressful to me. And
yeah, I understand.
That's why the patrons should just do it for us.
It's true.
This one was great.
By the time you listen to this, we will have a post up on patreon.com/mclasspodcast asking all of our beautiful patrons. I couldn't think of a second word for them because they're so fucking pretty.
They're just too pretty.
We're going to be asking...
Three pretty.
Edit that out, would you?
Pretty? I'm leaving it in.
They're so gritty.
Gritty?
They're as pretty as gritty.
Oh, I love gritty.
We're going to be asking our patrons to vote on what our next collection is going to be. That post will be up on patreon.com/mclasspodcast. Head on over there for as low as $1 a month. You can be a patron and get all kinds of extra content like Josh shoots shit.
I didn't know we got the Micro Machine Man here.
I wish I could go that fast.
That dude can talk so fast.
I wonder what he's been up to.
He might be dead.
Do they make Micro Machines anymore?
I fucking wish I would buy them. I don't think they do.
So this is Enterprise Season 2, Episode 2.
Which it's actually that on Netflix.
And also, it came out in 2002.
Yeah, September 25th.
Damn. Are you looking at the wiki for this, or do you just know?
I looked at the wiki and I remembered the date, because I'm good at remembering dates.
Josh has got a superpower I don't have, because I can't remember shit for dates.
I remember our first date.
Oh, yeah? Do you remember when I stuck it in?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so this episode was written by Dan O'Shannon, who is a sitcom writer and producer, and there's a lot of like sitcom-y stuff in this episode.
There is a lot of that.
Not that that's bad.
No, it works well with the story, which is interesting. But you don't expect it. I mean, obviously, it's a nod to like certain 50s television.
Oh, for
shows.
sure. Like, there's so much 50s nostalgia in this episode that you would think Tarantino wrote it.
Yeah, except there's no, like, I don't know, modern, like RZA didn't write the soundtrack. Yeah, that would be like Tarantino-y.
Dan O'Shannon was the showrunner on Frasier, unfortunately, because I hate that show.
Oh my god, you just got so many people mad at you.
I don't actually hate that show.
Do you know how many people love fucking
Frasier? People go fucking crazy for Frasier, I know.
Dude, my ex-girlfriend loved Frasier. Like, she fucking would never stop watching it.
I don't like Frasier. I don't hate it. I never gave it much of a chance, but I don't like it much. I'm sorry. Fucking give us your downvotes. Whatever.
I could take it or leave it. We're good. But Dan O'Shannon was... I mean... This is a good episode. I don't know, like, what, like, I don't know if this is comparable to Frasier. It's not really.
I mean, I wouldn't think so. Dan O'Shannon is actually listed as the co-writer, And Rick Berman and Brannon Braga are the other co-writers, which is one of those, like, you pick up a book by William Shatner and a smaller name is underneath it. It's probably by the smaller name.
Yeah, they actually wrote it, yeah. But the teleplay was by Chris Black. Do we know who that is? Because I don't.
Chris Black is my best fucking friend. How dare you ask me what he's about?
He's from Toledo, Ohio. That sucks.
He's just a writer. He was a staff writer on Enterprise.
So he just, like, wrote the teleplay out? Like,
yeah.
He was like, and then, okay, I gotcha.
Interesting to note, Dan O'Shannon also was the showrunner on Cheers, but wrote episodes of Newhart, Suddenly Susan, Modern Family...
Oh, there you go.
And the 2015 revival of The Odd Couple, which is something I didn't know existed.
Yeah, I don't remember. Who was in that? Do we know?
Dan O'Shannon.
Dan O'Shannon also won the award for most Irish-sounding name of all time.
What about Patrick O'Shaughnessy?
That's pretty... he beat him out that one year. They felt bad for Dan O'Shannon. That was like his training day, right? Like they wanted to give him a backup. Like he should have won it before, but...
This was directed by James Contner. Who directed episodes of 21 Jump Street, Miami Vice, Sequest, DSV, Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, The X-Files, Hercules, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Charmed Angel, Smallville, The Dead Zone, and Firefly.
He's done a shitload of shows. A lot of science fiction.
A lot of science fiction.
Do you remember Sequest? Remember that show?
Do you remember the show that just advertised as, hey, we got a dolphin?
It was like, hey, we're kind of like Star Trek, but underwater.
we're on the water planet, I guess.
And also, what's his name? The kid who killed himself from Sidekicks. He's in the show.
Oh shit, you're right. I didn't even think about that. I don't remember that kid's fucking name.
Brandon. Fuck, we're doing that thing.
Brannon Braga.
I mean, I think it's safe to say that I wish he killed himself.
Oh shit! We got some real Star Trek fan in here today.
Yeah, that's how you win points with the real Trek fans, right? Don't you guys hate Brandon Braga?
Fuck him!
Fucking kill him!
James Conner also worked as cinematographer. Delicious cinematographer.
That's a good job.
Television and film during the 80s. The only movie on this list I've seen is Jaws 3D.
Oh, that's a classic. When Jaws comes through the glass, it's like he's in my TV room.
It's like he's really chomping at my dick.
My two dicks. Did he write for the sitcom My Two Dicks?
My Two Dicks. She has two dicks for fathers?
You know what's funny about that show is, like, there's this thing called, like, DNA, and, like, she could have just tested them to see which one.
They didn't have that back then, Josh. They didn't have DNA.
They did, though. They did have, they were starting that shit in the 80s.
They didn't have DNA back then, Josh. Nobody had any. He also did other Enterprise episodes. He directed other episodes like Minefield, which we've done on this show before.
Which is right after this episode.
Yeah.
Which is another great episode.
So that's all the background you need about this particular episode. Hopefully you learn something, and hopefully you're not just like, get to the fucking episode!
We're trying to fill the front half with factoids.
I like to educate the masses.
Yeah, there's nothing really. I mean, what is this? This is 2002. People were still upset about 9/11.
People were still pretty fucking upset about 9/11 for quite a while.
Yeah, but I remember this point in time, like, television was like, nobody cared. Like, I remember, like, entertainment was, like, suffering because, like, people were just, like,
everybody
depressed.
was watching the news all the time.
Yeah,
it was like 24/7 news channels were booming at that point.
Yeah.
Which might be, oh, you want to hear a conspiracy theory I believe in?
I don't think this is a conspiracy theory because I think I know what you're going to say.
It's not a conspiracy theory at all, really. News channels got so high on all that revenue they were taking in from ads and stuff during the 24-hour news cycle that they started manufacturing things for people to be terrified of.
Oh, yeah.
So that they could continue that boom, and they're like desperate for it still to this day.
Yeah, it's a problem. That's why I don't watch like any of that. I don't even watch like the ones I agree with.
No, I don't either. Like, I get my news from, like, websites. Like,
yeah, I like
the websites that are like, this is what happened.
Don't you get your news from freedomrepublican.ru?
.ru.
Hillary killed a dog and she ate it.
Hillary Clinton officially changed his name to Killary Shitton.
It sounds like a Mad Magazine version of a Hillary Clinton conspiracy.
I'm sure they did that.
They probably did.
So this episode is all about a informal celebration of T'Pol's 1-year anniversary aboard the Enterprise.
Yeah,
she made it longer. Like, the last Vulcan was there for 10 days.
They say it's 2 weeks. Like, they're like, it's 2 weeks, and she's like, actually, it's 10 days, which is like so Vulcan. Fucking Vulcans.
Fucking humans stink, so Vulcans don't want to be on a ship with them.
Yeah, they don't like the way they smell.
They smell like poo-doo.
Probably, though. I mean, we're pretty gross. I know I smell bad a lot, so...
I smell like fucking Springfield every day.
Springfield from The Simpsons?
No, like you run through a field of fucking daisies. That's what I smell like every day.
I'm not trying to get ticks all over my dick, dude.
Well, if you're gonna hang out with me, you're gonna get ticks on your dick. I don't know what you're fucking crying about.
Good thing I got a backup dick.
Yeah, just hide your second dick and you'll be fine.
What's wrong with your one dick? It's like littered with ticks.
I'm just trying to keep that one under wraps for now. Yeah. I don't want ticks getting out.
Give it a few.
I started naming a couple of them, so I'm hoping they stick around.
This one's name is Bitey.
This one's Chewy.
He's living large. This is a big fat tick on your dick.
Oh, fuck. Jesus.
Jeez, fuck. Why? Who says that?
Who would fucking even lead up to that type of conversation?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Anyway, T'Pol's like, I don't want to get fucking lit at this thing or anything, and Archer's like, no, just keep drinking,
Oh, right, because, like, he's like, to celebrate, like, we drink alcohol, and Vulcans do not drink alcohol, typically.
No, she's like, for just this occasion, it's okay.
Yeah.
Archer's like, hey, I've been filling out your crew evaluation, I hope you know it's nothing personal. And she's like, yeah, I'm filling out your crew evaluation, too.
Fucking Vulcans, power play. They're assholes at this
fucking
point.
Let me move my goddamn bishop to Queen 4. Checkmate.
Whoa! That's a chess reference.
Yeah. Hopefully no chess players are listening to this, because I just made that up.
Technically, that would not be a checkmate in the Constantine maneuver.
That won't be a checkmate. And also... if you can't move the bishop into that space because it's only reserved for my PP.
How would you move the bishop? It only moves diagonally.
Sorry, chess players, fucking nerds. Anyway, let's talk about Star Trek.
Yeah, let's talk about some not nerdy shit.
It's only for cool people.
Yeah.
But he's he's like, not to pry into your personal business, but I'm gonna 100% pry into your personal business.
Yeah, this is like a little like, pry-y. Yeah,
like he's overstepping some boundaries here.
I would think, but he also at this point is just like, kind of a dingus. Like, he's not really cool yet.
He's also like, we're in like a tin can in space. How you gonna get away from my question, motherfucker?
Yeah, and
answer it.
He's kind of suspicious of her still, a little, not so much anymore. But there are moments in this season when he's like, "You're still kind of being a Vulcan bitch to me."
Why don't you act more like a human, which is the only people I like?
Assimilate, motherfucker.
But, like, he's like, yeah, it looks like you went to Carbon Creek, Pennsylvania. That's not really a tourist destination.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I went there for my own reasons.
Yeah, leave me alone.
And...
Dad. Space Dad.
Space Dad. But, like, also, Tucker is there. No one cares, but he's there.
He's, like, the worst sometimes.
Tucker is, like, straight up fucking Vulcan racist. Like, Archer's at least like putting a lid on it a little bit in this episode. But he's like, what would a fucking pointy-eared, green-blooded hobgoblin want to go to Carbon Creek, Pennsylvania for?
Well, he's so Vulcan racist that later he, like, gets it in, which just means he loves them.
Fucking
Spoiler alert.
Spoilers. Trip gets his stanky on his hang down.
From the green stanky area. Oh, that was gross.
I didn't like that at all.
I didn't either when I said it. I was like, ugh.
But, like, she's like, it's my personal business.
Yeah.
And and old Trip is like, well, tell me a story. Like, don't leave me hanging. Tell me a human story.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, I went to visit the site of first contact. And they're like, what? Fucking stupid Vulcan.
Everybody knows first contact was in Bozeman, Montana on April 5th, 2063.
Exactly. And, like, they're fucking so shitty about it. Even, they specifically say, every small school child knows.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, stupid. It was actually in Carbon Creek, Pennsylvania, and I'll tell you about it.
So, Carbon Creek is not a real town.
You went looking for it?
It's not real. It's, they do reference Doylestown, which is the town that I live right next to.
They talk about going to see a baseball game in Doylestown.
And they spell it right on the captions. So I watched it with the captions on because I was doing other things. And, so I'm like 10 miles away from there. I guess it's supposed to be like a town like I live in the 50s, which my town probably would have looked similar to this, but this is a little podunkier. It's a little more. It's pretty
podunk.
Yeah.
It looks like a town where I would live.
Yeah,
in
it's
the 50s.
like right. It's more West Virginia and central PA, not so much like Bucks County, PA, or like Montgomery County, PA.
This is very much like every type of media that's ever come out of West Virginia about West Virginia. It's like the mines.
Yeah,
live your life in the mines.
Yeah, coal miners. Yeah,
it's always like life in the mines was horrible. People died by the billions.
1 trillion humans died in the mines.
Human life was thrown against the greater machine of the mines at such a hefty rate that no one survived. No one made any money. People died of starvation, and fat cat politicians lined their pockets. Anyway, clean coal.
Estimates are 1 billion humans died. You're like, okay.
And it always ends with, it's not like that today, where West Virginians make great wages. Anyway, throw your fucking life away in the coal mine.
It's different now. Yeah, people don't get black lung anymore. Okay. All right. Sure.
It's actually, like, people always talk about, like, back in the day, like, mining companies used to make people live in, like, towns, little ghettos that they owned, and you had to use company scrip in order to buy stuff at the store.
Yeah, they were slaves.
Yeah, you make money now. You make real money, but you still live in towns that are owned by the mining companies, which are all, like, not to be pointing any fingers, but they're all from Pennsylvania.
Hey! Well, we're really good at, like, marginalizing people here. We have a long history of murdering Irish people who worked on the railroads.
Ooh.
So, that happened in my state, so that's cool.
Great. It's like, everybody is so, like, pro-coal, and it's basically pro-butt-fuck our state into oblivion, please.
Oh, well, that's what they're doing, and they're gonna be so fucked. I mean, they're already fucked. They're so fucked.
There's nothing here anymore. Like, our economy is absolutely blasted. It's ruined.
Why don't you, like, I don't know, sell some mountains or something?
We have so many.
Not anymore after you raised them all from finding a minute coal dust inside of them.
It's like, our state looks beautiful from all the highways and stuff, but if you get in a plane, it looks like a fucking desert in some areas.
It's like pockmarked with, like, scars,
Anyway, we'll be back right after these messages with less complaining about the horrible state of life in 2019 and more Star Trek.
Thanks you to our sponsor, Clean Coal.
Please don't put that commercial in this. We'll be right back.
Did beings from another world visit Earth?
We'll need to disguise ourselves.
What is it?
I believe you have that garment on backwards.
The Star Trek story that rewrites history as you know it.
I Love Lucy is on tonight.
An all-new episode of Enterprise, next Wednesday at 8, 7 Central on UPN.
Welcome back from that message, which better not have fucking been a clean coal message, Josh. I swear to God.
I ain't gonna tell.
He's such a rascal. He's such
a stinker.
So Paul starts telling the story of the first human Vulcan contact.
Well, she's like my foremother's foremother.
Yeah, so like her great-grandmother.
There's a lot of dumb fan exposition in this beginning part, like the part about Death from Cochrane is for dummies who don't know.
Yeah, there's a
show.
statue there.
Right. It's for like the uninitiated.
There's a statue there.
And the Vulcan lifespan is for dummies too, because somebody would be like,
Trip. Like this makes Trip seem like a fucking moron, though, doesn't it?
He is a moron.
Where he's like, "Well, how old are you?"
I'm from Florida.
Shazam!
And then he pulls his 6-gun out and he shoots it.
Is he from fucking Florida? What's with the accent?
I guess he's from like a shitty part. Well, that's Florida.
Yeah,
I guess
whole
he's from
state
like
of Florida is shitty, sir.
He's from like the center of Florida because when the Xindi attack, like his sister dies from it. So
spoilers.
I mean, they shoot like a laser beam up the coast of Florida, like up the middle of it. I mean, like up the dick scene.
They vivisect the dick.
Yeah, they like cut the dick in half.
Jesus, that's symbolic.
Yeah,
cutting the dick off of America.
I mean, we kind of need it.
Yeah, I mean, couldn't hurt.
I wouldn't be mad if Florida went away. Whatever.
Anyway.
I've been there. I know.
She's like, Vulcan ship. It was just doing a survey of Earth. It was because of Sputnik.
Yeah, it's 1957, and the USSR launches Sputnik, which is a big deal for us and for the Vulcans, apparently, because they're like, what's going on over here 16 light years away?
Yeah, like, what the fuck? Humans have a satellite?
Yeah.
Since when could they do that?
We're like backwards idiots to them. They're like, how did these people do this?
Yeah. It would be like if you, like, lived next to, like, a place that had wolves in it, and then you, like, went out on a walk and there was, like, a fucking house that the wolves were just living inside of. You'd be like, what the fuck? When could they do that?
And this one wolf is just sipping coffee with his wolf wife.
The wolf is like, he like has the curtain pushed back on the window, like staring at you as you walk past. And when you look at him, he like pulls it closed real fast.
You made a really good pizza analogy earlier. This one might be better than your pizza analogy.
Look, I'm pretty much the king of analogies.
I'm pretty much the whatever is analogous to a king to analogies.
The queen of analogies.
The bishop of analogies. Bishop to queen for.
Actually, that's not gonna blow. Fucking nerds. Anyway, they've been like, they apparently just hang out on their ship for like weeks.
Yeah, and this ship is like awful. Like this is like a shuttlecraft. Like
it's like a shuttlecraft that's made out of the first 2 episodes of Deep Space Nine, where the satellite is just fucking spewing like mood smoke in all directions, and there's just red lighting at your feet and shit.
Yeah, well, the Vulcan ships are like weird, right? They got weird shit.
It's a great place to rave.
Sandstorms playing.
But their impulse manifold fails, and they have to do an emergency crash landing on Earth.
Way to go, dorks.
They try to land in the least populated area they could find, which is Carbon Creek, Pennsylvania.
Where I live.
Where Josh lives, the least human populated area in the world.
I mean, there's things that look like people here, but I don't classify them as human, so maybe the scanners didn't classify these people as human beings.
Anunnaki.
Oh, fuck. I mean, I think the Vulcans are the Anunnakis.
That's true. Their captain is Tamir, who is T'Pol's second foremother.
She's not the captain. She is the second in command.
She's the second in command, because the captain gets bonked on the head and dies.
He goes, oh no, my brains came out of my brain stem.
He gets hit on the head and goes, Mamma Mia, and dies.
then he dies. That's how he dies.
And they're like, we will not speak of this again.
T'Pon is there?
Yeah, T'Pon was here at this time.
So far we got T'Pon, right? T'Pon from our show.
Tapon of Tapon's radio program.
Of Tapon's the Starship Tapon's radio program. And in this episode, the one other guy is Mistral, whose name is Menstrual. So we have Tampon and Menstrual.
Oh no! It turns out that Vulcans do have a theme that's common amongst their names.
Period theme.
So when they land, they try to send out like a distress signal, but their subspace transceiver is damaged, so they don't know if it's working or not.
Yeah,
which has gotta
marooned.
suck.
Yeah, they're pretty fucking marooned.
And like they have to live out in the woods on emergency rations for 5, and like they do it for so long that they run out, and they spend 5 days without food.
Which
and all I can think
bad.
is like, how bad do they fucking stink? They're wearing leather.
Yeah, they're wearing like some actually pretty cool uniforms.
It's
like
true.
I'm super into that Vulcan like pre-Federation uniforms they got going.
It's true. Like most Vulcan outfits from like the Federation days are all like robes and stuff, which
they're
can
all
be cool.
wizards. Yeah, because they're elves, right?
I like that sort of aesthetic. There is like Spock's like prayer uniform or like prayer outfit that he wears in the motion picture.
Yeah.
Which is super fucking dope. Best thing he ever wore. And there's science officer uniforms that you see on like in TNG when people like call over the view screen. They'll be wearing these really fucking bomb ass military uniforms.
Yeah.
But you never get to see all of them.
Yeah, they don't make all of them for budgetary reasons.
They're just sitting there in jeans.
These are like if Indiana Jones was a Vulcan. That's what these look like.
They're cool looking. They are. They're very shiny. They're very like
I like it.
Enterprise has this very like retro futuristic undercurrent. There's a lot of like stuff that's way too futuristic for the time period it's happening in.
Yeah.
But they also mix in all this sort of retro futurism stuff. Like the Vulcans are dressed a little bit like 1950s spacemen.
Yeah, they're like Buck Rogers looking,
which is great.
Also, the windows on the Enterprise are circles, right? Which is like old timey.
It's
like
very classic, like portholes.
Porthole, yeah. Like, why would you make it a porthole? Like, I guess because it's actual glass, right? So it has to like.
It's actual glass is the only thing between them and space.
Dude, the Enterprise. This Enterprise is like the most rickety ass.
It's like a fucking death trap. Like the guy on the lot was like, "It'll be fine. Take it."
They say it when they go into the Expanse and Shran like meets them in there for like you know, like kind of nefarious reasons. But Shran goes on the ship and he goes, "You're very brave for flying into the Expanse in this ship." He's like, "The ship is not meant to do this."
And Archer's like, "What? It's not?"
Yeah, and they kind of know, right? Because they're like, oh, yeah, well,
you gotta do what you gotta do.
And the ship gets like super fucked up. So anyway,
they're like completely out of their rations. They spend 5 days without food, and they actually think about eating a deer. And Vulcans are vegetarians.
I love this so much. It's so it's like a perfect nugget of world building. Like, it's great.
Yeah, like they don't even tell you that they're vegetarians.
Right.
They just give you that information through context clues.
Right.
Like you actually want to eat an animal.
Yeah, Mistral's like that. One of those creatures could sustain us for quite some time. And the other guy, what's his name?
I don't remember his name.
Strawn is his name.
Strawn. Okay.
Strawn goes, "You would have us like resort to savagery, like it's a deer, right? Like we would eat deer, like who cares, right? Like."
But they see all life as sacred.
Yeah.
So they can't.
That's cool.
They decided this is also the first little like breadcrumb about Mistral that he like doesn't quite jive with the other Vulcans.
I have like a really we'll get to it later, but we can get to it now a little bit. But I love this, like certain Vulcans are willing to embrace like more of like the I would say like the positive emotional side of humans, right? Like
it's true. I mean, the way I saw it in this episode that made me really love it is that like Mistral sees that humans have the same capacity for all these like horrible negative emotions that Vulcans were afraid of and they locked away, but they seem to have the ability to control it like, in a way that Vulcans don't. Like, Vulcans have to use the teachings of Surok in order to keep a lid on all their emotions, but humans are just capable of doing it themselves somehow. I feel like I said, Mistral has, like, a sort of, like, he sees this part of humans that Vulcans couldn't control.
Right.
And that they have control of it. And he's almost, like, envious in a way. He wants to know more. He wants to understand how.
That's interesting. That's an interesting way to look at it. I always look at it as like that. There's 3 of them, right? So like I always think of it as there's. I mean, later on in this series, they get to the meat of it, where like the longer Vulcans hang around humans, the more they like understand and their compassion, and the more that they like go native, right? Like Vulcans tend to empathize with the human empathy, like, and they sort of become more human. But there's like a certain percentage of Vulcans that sort of like immediately are like, they latch on, I think, to the more positive aspects of humanity, where most Vulcans are like, oh my god,
they're
this
fucking
is like
gross.
These fucking barbarians, which, like, compared to them, we are, right? Well, yeah, like, especially
there's
now.
also the thing Mistral says, where he says, you know, we were the exact same before we became enlightened. Like,
right.
Who are we to judge?
There's a line later where the Vulcan ambassador is talking to the admiral, and he's like, there is one species that humans remind us of, because earlier he's like, humans are bananas. He's like, I don't understand you. You're like no other species. Like, one minute you're fucking creating beautiful things, the next minute you're like destroying yourself. He's like, you guys are nuts. But he's like, there is one species that humans do remind us of, and it's us. And like, and then the admiral's like, are Vulcans afraid of humans? And he's like, yes. Which is crazy, right?
Yeah,
Because like,
I mean, like, humans are so rapidly gaining, like, technological ability in a way that like the Vulcans took much longer in order to get to.
Yeah,
and it's because the Vulcans kept destroying themselves over and over, and then they dedicated this massive amount of time to getting that under control.
Right.
And they got it completely under control. Humans never spent that time. They just slowly evolved past.
It's learning on the fly, right? Humans are sort of adaptable like that. In this universe, and I would say in our universe too. Like, I mean, it's looking more and more like we're gonna head the Star Trek way.
I mean, we are headed towards World War III. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's cool.
But like, Mistral is basically like, I'm not fucking sitting around here and dying. Like, I'm not leaving them a corpse to study. So
yeah, they're like, what happens when they find us? They're like, he's like, we need to go into town. There is one way we can survive. And Tamir is like, you're fucking crazy. We are not doing that. What if they find us? And he's like, what if they find us when we're dead? And she's like,
it's better
to leave them. Yeah,
better to leave them a corpse than a live alien to deal with. Yeah. And he's like, well, that's some fucking bullshit, and I'm going anyway.
And he gives her the double finger.
Then the double green-blooded hobgoblin finger. They turn even more green because the blood rushes to them.
Ew.
So they just steal. They just go and steal clothes from a clothesline, and you get to see shadow nipples.
Yeah, you see Jolene Blaylock, who plays T'Pol, who was playing Tamir in this, which is a cool way to get, like...
it's that instant recognition. This is T'Pol's ancestor.
Right. It's like Marty McFly, right? When he goes back in time, it's just Michael J. Fox. But yeah, you do see the nipples, which is cool.
That was like 100% UPN. We gotta see the nipple shadows.
Yeah, they really. I mean, this is like how Riverdale is. So.
Yeah, we gotta show the boys at home that she's got nipples.
You know what? People love nipples.
You know what people want to see more of? The shadows of nipples.
We can't show titties, but we can show shadow titties. I like to call them shitties.
Oh man, I should probably rethink that, but not right now. Show me them shitties.
Trademarked.
So they steal clothes. Tamir does not know how to put on a dress.
Aha!
It's funny. It's fish out of water stuff. People
Stupid
love the
Vulcan.
fish out of water stuff.
I like when Mistral is like, I believe you have that garment on backwards. It's like, how does he know?
It looks wrong.
It does look weird.
But like they're trying to limit their interaction to the point where like Tamir is like, you're not allowed to talk.
Yeah, let me do the talking.
Let me
right?
do all the talk. Let the woman do all the talking in 1957 in Pennsylvania. I'll handle it.
In coal country, Pennsylvania. I like when they walk down the street, right? And there's coal miners like getting off of the bus or whatever. And they're like, are they prisoners? And like, he's like, no, they're not chained, right? So they're like kind of like analyzing like life, like how would it look like to people? And then there's people listening to a baseball game in a car because radio was the only thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like pretty much.
Everybody's like gathered around it, being like, oh.
Which is like the worst, dude. You ever like listening to baseball on the radio reminds me of like being like in a car like overnight, like driving somewhere, right?
Oh
like
my God.
boring as fuck driving.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah. But they're like, is it like some kind of combat? Which is
like,
funny.
sounds like barbaric combat, and he's like, I
Yeah.
believe it's a game.
A form of entertainment.
Yeah. And so they go and they find a restaurant that's also a bar, because all bars are restaurants and vice versa at this period.
Sure. Yeah.
And they're like, do they got food in there? Yeah. So they just walk in, and everybody in there is obviously from that town. There's only
Yeah.
like 500 people in the town, tops.
It's the smallest town ever.
So they all
right?
are like, who the fuck is this?
Yeah, and they all look like fucking weird as fuck. So they cover their ears up with the hat. Mistral wears like a beanie, like
Yeah,
you know,
just like
and-
Spock did when he went
Yeah.
back to the past. And
Yep.
Tamir hides her ears with her hair.
that nothing will go wrong with that.
No, and
that's not.
somehow it doesn't. So
Yep.
I guess it was fine.
I guess nobody ever just saw her ears. I don't know.
But they don't have any money, of course. And
Oh yeah, they like are watching people pay for stuff with paper money, and I love that Mistral's like, I believe that paper has value. It's like it doesn't.
it
It's
doesn't
fucking
really.
made up.
It doesn't really, but for the purposes of you getting food, it does. And then a drunk comes in and he's like, hey, somebody play pool with me.
I like your drunk guy voice.
Somebody come and play pool with Papa. And everybody's like, ew.
Yeah, this guy's weird.
And Mistral's like, we need to. He's like, I'll play quarter a ball.
Yeah, which apparently in 1957 money is like
That's a lot of money. That's like $5 a
$50.
ball, easy.
Yeah.
And Mistral's like, I'm gonna play. And Tamir's like, no, you can't.
You don't even know the rules, yeah.
And he's like, it's simple geometry. I'll be fine.
Yeah, a Vulcan child could do it.
Yeah. But I love that the guy's like such a fucking 1957's creep. He's like,
Yeah.
if you win, because you don't got no money.
You're really making him sound way grosser than
If you win, I'll give you the quarters. But if I win, I get you a dame.
Oh my
That's
God.
not really what he says. He says, yes, I have a drink with me.
Yeah, have a drink with me, which is still like.
And then fuck. And Mistral's like, we accept.
I don't think that guy would be ready for that. That would be
his
a
wiener is
whole-
definitely washed out.
Woo! That would be a whole next level, man. Those Vulcans, I could imagine fuck for a long time.
It's true. Like, it's like logically, there's no passion in it. It's all logic. So you'd have to work for a long time to be able to get there.
I would think that they would be if they're on their if they're
Oh, the
on
Pon Far, dude.
Yeah, if they're on Pon Far, it's a
Dude,
fuck fest.
Don't
man.
pay any attention to what she's saying. She's on her Pon Far. You know how women get when they're on their Pon Far.
Oh yeah.
But Mistral's like, okay. And Tamir's like, what?
Yeah.
And Mistral like starts to get hustled, but then he's like, wait, this is geometry.
Yeah, he Vulcans the shit out of it. Like he reverse hustles the guy.
And he just obliterates him.
Yeah.
We flash back to T'Pol telling her story, and Tucker's like, you're full of shit.
Yeah.
I'm from Florida.
He's like, I think I would have remembered if somebody landed in Carbon Creek.
You telling me two Vulcans went into a bar, hustled a game of pool and walked out with an armload of TV dinners. That seemed like an episode of The Twilight Zone.
Which is a cool, like, that's a cool bit, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's a cool reference that the Twilight Zone is still something that people know about, you know? It's a
I
very...
hope it is. I hope that lasts forever.
Yeah.
But
you'll find in this in Enterprise, movies and TV like still matter to humans at this point.
Yeah, there's
in
no
time.
holodeck.
Right. And there's like sports are still watched on TV and stuff like that. So like there's no baseball, but like Captain Archer likes water polo, which I don't know. So yeah, so there's no like TV and movies still play like a role in this world for the humans,
Which is like, it's not mentioned ever again in anything. Like even in TOS, they're watching plays and shit, like how it is at TNG.
Yeah, you get the sense that like entertainment for them, I guess is like about like the performing of a thing, right? Like, which I guess so, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's what TV and movies really are anyway. Like at that point, like why would special effects and stuff matter to them?
True, they do get to see like the reality of space travel, which is like much more interesting. So, but not everybody does.
No, not everybody. I'm sure people on Earth still watch sports and shit and like watch movies and stuff. I think like Kirk mentions baseball several times in TOS even.
They didn't really think about that, right? Where
the continuity is something that came much later.
Yeah, that's what you get for having a fucking 50-year running show.
Yeah, it's at a certain point there's no way to keep up with continuity. Not that means you can just fucking ignore it, Discovery.
Thank you.
Piece of shit.
Jeff, they got 2 dicks now. They can ignore everything.
I guess. You got more than one dick, free ride, baby.
Free ride. Wait, what?
Oh,
that's
no.
not that fun.
But like our heroes, the Vulcans, don't have any money.
Yeah.
To pay for pools, so they get like this fucking drunk comes up to them and he's like, "You gonna play a game of pool?"
Yeah.
And he's like, Mistral's like, "Yeah, quarter a game, that's perfect. We need money." And he's like, "You ain't got no money."
Dude, this is gross.
"You ain't got no money? Then alright, I'll play you. If you win, you get my quarters. If I win, I get your bitch."
Whoa!
And Mistral's like, "I accept." And Tamir's like, "What? No, wait."
Holy shit.
The drunk starts to like win to begin with, but like Mistral sort of like figures the game out. Like it's simple enough that a Vulcan child could win.
Yeah, and he's like way stronger than a human, and so like I don't know, pool doesn't require like an immense amount of strength.
He does have like a computer brain though.
Yeah, like they're more accurate, they're more agile, so they can like hit the ball like accurately. He does some pretty like crazy shots for like never playing pool, but he's a Vulcan, so
he has like they walk out with these 2 gigantic bags of like TV dinners and shit.
Yeah,
and we flash back to T'Pol telling her story at this point, and Tucker's like yucking it the fuck up.
Yeah, he doesn't believe it. He's not buying this.
So you're telling me 2 Vulcans go into a bar, hustle a game of pool, and walk out with armloads of TV dinners? Seems like an old episode of The Twilight Zone.
I love this Tucker impression.
That's what he sounds like.
But I love the fucking Twilight Zone reference. It's great.
Man. I want the Twilight Zone to be referenced forever.
It's cool. Like it's cool that like I don't know. I like in TV references like that, especially for the Twilight Zone. It's such a good show.
There's another one like a little bit later where Mistral wants to watch I Love Lucy.
Yeah, he's like, I Love Lucy is on tonight. He doesn't want it, but it's a lie. He's lying at that point.
Yeah, he's lying. He's trying to go see Bases Ball.
Trying to get his bases balls into a lady's bases holes.
Josh, I think we need to have a talk about how you play baseball.
You put your balls in the vagina hole.
That's how you get a lady pregnant.
That's how you do the most getting pregnant.
I've never put my balls in, so no ladies ever got pregnant on my watch.
Nah, man.
But, like, Archer and Trip just fucking, like, laugh. They fucking yuck it up. But T'Pol's like, let me finish my story.
Yeah, she's like, you wanted to hear a story.
Fucking
And they're like, no, keep telling it.
Stupid-ass humans. Let me tell you my fucking story. But, like, our heroes, the Vulcans, realize they can't go on gambling all the time. Like, gambling is not going to be the way that they keep making enough money to live.
Yeah.
So, Tamir gets a job at the bar.
She's a barmaid.
As a waitress. Yeah. Because that's all women could do in 1957.
Well, I mean, that must have been a shitty...
Although the bar is run by a woman named Maggie.
Yeah.
Who's like a divorcee. Her husband just fucking ran off. I don't even know if she's divorced or not.
We didn't even talk about the kid. So there's the son of the bar owner, right?
Yeah.
And he's like going to college in the next semester.
He's a smart boy.
And they're saving up for him to go to college with like a tip jar, and like everybody in the town is like pitching in for his room and board and books and shit.
Which, in my experience personally, is not how Southern people react when you tell them you're going to college. That is literally the opposite way.
Well, this is not the South, Jeff.
They're working in a coal mine, motherfucker. That's the South.
This is Pennsylvania,
you
Jeff.
guys
We're
became
the North.
You guys became the North later. That's the South at this point. Pennsylvania.
Yeah, well, yeah.
That's like people like that type of town does not look kindly on somebody going for higher education. Trust me on this one. There's still people to this day when I go to visit my mom who are like, "Oh, fucking college boy, huh? I think you're too good for us now."
I bet you played chess, nerd.
Fucking, they're like, "College boy, think you're too good." Yeah, that's why I moved.
Yeah, I am too good. That's what you say.
That's why I fucking left.
Yeah. Maybe these people are, I don't know, it's the bar lady, so maybe they people. Maybe they're good people.
Like, Strawn takes a job as a plumber and barely appears in the rest of the episode.
Yeah, he's like a handyman, right? Like, he's a plumber, he's like a fixer guy. I mean, like, he's fixing a TV later, and or a vacuum or whatever, and it's like, that shit to him must be like, again, like a Vulcan child could do it.
Oh,
it's just like,
he's just like
transistors.
He's just like fixing it with the Vulcan tech they brought. He's just like, it's done.
Yeah,
whatever.
there's a pipe that's leaking, and he just uses a fucking like laser to solder the pipe. Cause fuck it.
Mistral takes a job in the coal mine where the kid works, Maggie's kid, whose name is apparently Billy.
No, he doesn't want to work in there.
No, he doesn't. Billy's the drunk.
Yeah, Billy's his friend. The guy who he plays pool with becomes friends with Mistral. The kid is going to have to work in there if he doesn't go to college, which is like
fucking
bad.
Sucks.
Yeah, it's bad.
Like Mistral like starts to get real interested in humans and like starts to like watch a lot of TV.
Yeah.
He loves I Love Lucy.
Yeah, when does there's like a nuclear bomb test on TV? Does that happen soonish?
I think that's already happened, yeah.
Yeah, and Tamir walks up and is like, doesn't it is it Mistral? It's Mistral. It's like, doesn't it concern you? And she's like, sorry, I just burped. She's like, leave it in. She's like, yeah, it scares the hell out of me. And I don't know. I think it might be. I forget who it is. It's one of them.
If it was Mistral, like I feel like it was Mistral, and he was saying it because like he's worried about the humans, and Tamir was responding like, "We need to get the hell out of here."
Yeah, she's like, this place is gonna erupt. Like, these idiots are gonna kill themselves, and Mistral's like, I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, she's like, this planet's gonna destroy itself with us on it.
Yeah, we gotta get the fuck out.
And also, like, he starts fucking kissy facing with Maggie, the bar owner.
Yeah, they go to a baseball game in Doyley's town, and
they're like super cute together. What a fucking cute couple.
It's interesting that, I don't know, Mistral is just like, maybe they could have some superhuman disease, you know? Like, fuck it. I don't know.
Whatever. She kisses him, and he's like, that was very pleasant.
Yeah.
She's like, it's been a while since I kissed a guy, but I hope for more than pleasant.
And he's like, I said it was very pleasant.
It's the best I can do, lady. I'm a Vulcan.
So Vulcan. I love it.
But, like...
Tamir sees him, though.
Something about fucking human women. Like, Vulcan men are like, fucking human women, yeah.
Maybe they like the smell of them. Maybe that's the thing. It's pheromones.
Could be. Like, something about human women, though. Like, even, like, Sarek, his wife dies of old age, and he marries another human lady.
This guy fucking a type, dude. He's just into it.
His type, human. That's it.
Blonde human lady.
It's fucking, Strawn is like, well, of course, Tamir sees him kissing her, and, like, he was supposed to be going to get parts from the ship. And
right,
she's
to
like,
get an
pissed.
antenna or something, right.
Yeah, she's like, I order you to stop seeing her.
Right.
And he's like, there's no mission anymore. This is our lives now.
This is it. We're here now. This is our life, yeah.
We have to do something to make a life for ourselves here.
Yeah.
And I, for one, am going to do it. And Strawn is pissed. Like, he hates humans.
It's like his worst nightmare.
He's like, fucking, this lady keeps comparing me to someone named Mo
The kid,
of the Three
her
Stooges.
kids.
Yeah.
She's like,
And
her
he's
sons keep calling me Mo.
He's like, there is a resemblance.
It's so fun. That's like such a self-referential joke. I fucking love it.
I love that joke a lot.
Because his hair is Mo.
Maybe that's
It's
what
fucking
happens to
Mo.
Mistral. Like, oh no, Mo's already happened, so fucking timeline doesn't line up. Oh.
Dude, I love that so much that it's like, we know that all Vulcan's hair looks like this, right?
It's like, there is a resemblance. This is when Tamir starts going on a rant about how the Earth is on, like, it's gonna fucking explode, brink of self-annihilation.
Yep.
And Mistral's like, I don't think you're right.
They're both right.
I think humans have great weakness, but they also have great potential. And she's like, like what? And he's like their compassion.
Their empathy, their compassion.
And they're both like, what?
Yeah. It's crazy. I don't know. I love the Vulcan human dynamic. I think it's super interesting. I don't know.
Oh, I do too. It's like both sides gain something from the interaction. It's more obvious that the Vulcans are learning to understand, to value compassion more.
Right.
Because, I mean, they already do in a way. They just refuse to call it that.
Yeah, but they're also like, and in this series, you see where that mentality of pure logic is flawed. Like, because they're so hell-bent on things being logical all the time, they don't realize that, they don't remember the reasons why they're, like, the defenders of the weak, which, like, they kind of are. Like, the Vulcans are kind of the good guys, right?
Yeah,
they go out.
They don't really feel the feelings behind
Right.
it, though. They just do it because it's, like, logical to do.
It's logically the right thing to do, but they don't remember, like, why it is. And that allows, like, for, like, tyrants to take over and to manipulate their culture, which winds up happening to the Vulcans. And like you said, like, there's a symbiotic relationship with the Vulcans and humans, where they're both learning to be, the humans are learning to be a little more objective, they're
learning to be a little bit more responsible. As well.
Yes.
Like, because when we first go out into the galaxy, it's very gung-ho. Like, there's a point where we almost corrupt a civilization with a dog.
Yeah, there's a episode where, like, there's, like, a first contact, but, like, the impulse engines on the ship, like, light the atmosphere on fire and kill everybody.
Jesus fucking
And,
Christ.
like, the Vulcans are like, see? They're like, this has to stop. But then it turns out that it was, like, the Suliban did it, and they prove it, and it's this whole, like, mystery thing, like Star Trek 6.
I mean, Star Trek is very much written from a human perspective. It has to be.
Mm-hmm.
There's obviously a lot of favoritism towards the humans as a species in the series, but they do grow and learn from the interaction with the Vulcans.
Yeah.
And the Vulcans definitely grow and learn from their interaction from humans.
Yeah, as much as they don't want to. And they're so proud, like, they never admit it, you know? Except for later when they do. And what's her name? T'Pel is like, she like formalizes like all relations. She's like, humans are no longer need us. She's like, you guys are good. We're cool. Let's do some shit together. That's cool. And that takes like a major undertaking though. And like almost the collapse of Vulcan society, which is like, is it worth it? Yeah, right?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
But like, to some Vulcans, it's probably terrifying because, oh, here we go again, right? We're going back to this time.
That's like the Vulcans' collective worst fear is becoming the savage Vulcans that they once were.
Yep.
And that's got to be scary. Like, you almost nuke your planet to the ground and almost obliterate all life on it several times over.
Right.
And the thought that that could happen again has to be, like, earth-shatteringly scary.
Vulcan shattering.
Yeah, the planet Vulcan shattering.
Yeah, the planet, not the people.
Although the nuclear bombs will shatter them as well.
Well, in the JJ universe, the planet just blows up anyway, so fuck it.
Yeah, in the JJ universe, the planet becomes a black hole, which is a thing planets can do.
Remember when they just blew up Vulcan? Because JJ was like, you know what I need to put in my movie? A blow-up planet.
We gotta blow up a planet. What's the planet people will care most about? Earth? Well, I can't do that. Vulcan. We'll do that.
Nobody cares. Who cares? It's a mystery box.
Oh, I hate J.J. Abrams. We did skip ahead and talk about the kiss and everything that happened.
Oh, yeah, they kissed, yeah.
But Tamir is, like, of course, fucking infuriated at Mistral.
Yeah.
But she does have this moment where Jack is the name of Maggie's son.
Jack, yeah.
He comes in and he's like, "Oh, what you doing?"
This part always kind of weirds me out a little bit.
And she's like, "Oh, I'm meditating." And he's like, "Oh, yeah, like the Buddhist monks who meditate all the time, or the Maharashis, or this or that."
The fakir talks about the fakirs who can like do crazy shit.
And he's like, "Oh, I also love like astronomy and other fucking nerd shit. I bet I played chess." And she's like, "Oh, I'm also a fucking nerd, so I understand."
Yeah, my whole culture, my whole race is full of nerds. We're all nerds.
I want to make a character who's like a Vulcan jock.
There are some of those.
Who's just like, "You've studied at the Vulcan Science Academy? Wow, I didn't know you were a nerd." "You should have worked on your body's muscles and not just your mind. I'm going to steal your woman."
T'Pon, you're such a dick now.
T'Pon's all brain. I bet T'Pon is the skinniest Vulcan. But Tamir has this weird thing with Jack. Which is, it's a little weird. It seems like they're falling in love, which is not right.
I always, and I know it's not supposed to like read this way. I think the actor who plays Jack is not the best, and he's not like a good like child. He's not playing like enough of a child, right?
No, he's also supposed to be like 18 or something.
Yeah, but
so.
When you're 18, like, and especially 1957, if you're 18 years old, like you're more of a kid, right? Like you're like not James Dean, you know what I mean? He hits on her. He fucking hits on her.
Awkward, like boyish crush type of thing, but he's like he looks too old to be acting that way.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
He says, what does he say? Like, they're talking about, like, science, and, like, she's like, "Oh, that's, like, interesting that you like this stuff." Like, she's beginning to see the value in humans.
Oh, he's like, "Yeah, maybe we can study...
See Sputnik.
Sputnik together."
He's like,
"Go
"Why don't I
somewhere
show
and
it
see
to
Sputnik
you?"
together.
Yeah. And it's like...
Sputnik is the name of my dick.
I call it Sput Dick.
Oh my god, that's too smart. It's too smart for the show.
Is it, though?
No. But there's this accident in the coal mines at the same time, and 20 people are trapped. By the way, this is not a rare occurrence in coal mines.
Yeah, this happens, like, all the time, especially in the 50s.
Oh, yeah. There's 20 people would just be fucking dead if Mistral didn't go get a particle weapon.
Yeah, he gets a fucking phaser or whatever.
And
whatever it
Strawn
is.
and Tamir are like, if they die, they die.
Well, Tamir is like, they only live to like 60 or 70.
Yeah, so what does it matter if you get to let them live a couple more fucking
Yeah.
hours or however long they live?
It's so cold. That's like cold-blooded shit right
But like
there.
Mistral is like, they're my friends, and I'm gonna help them whether you help me or not.
Yep.
And he says, if you you can't try to stop me because you're not gonna be able to.
Not gonna stop me.
So Tamir helps him.
Yeah.
She like uses the Vulcan technology to guide him through the mind. He shoots a fucking wall with a laser and nobody sees it.
And nobody even is like, how did you do that?
No, they're just like, oh, Mistral, you're the hero.
Yay!
This seeming white guy named Mistral, you're the hero.
With V-shaped eyebrows.
Yeah.
Cool.
So he's like the town hero.
Yeah.
And nobody suspects him of being a weird fucking cold-blooded alien monster.
I could have so they could have gone a lot of ways with this episode. Like they could have like had the FBI show up, right? And be like, "Oh, you Russian?" You know what I mean? Like that's kind of like where I thought, like when I first saw the episode, I was like, "Oh God, it's gonna be like that, right? They're gonna
It's
be
much smaller.
It's a lot like more homey, right? Like it's more comfortable.
I like it that way.
Yeah, no, it's nice. I'm glad they didn't do that. But
Yeah.
when I first saw it, I was like, "Oh man, they're gonna like be like blamed, like they're gonna be like spies, right? Because it's the Cold War."
That's like the standard thing to do with like time travel things. Is
Yeah.
like, oh, you're a Russian.
You're a Russian, right? Right.
But like 3 months pass with Mistral being the hero of town, and a Vulcan ship contacts him, and they're like, "Hey, we got your distress signal, but it took a while because a Tellarite freighter picked it up.
And they're slow as shit.
Our heroes, the Tellarites, saved the day."
Yep.
And they're like, "Oh man, yeah, we finally get to leave." And
Yeah.
Tamir goes to say goodbye to Jack, her boyfriend, her underage boyfriend. And
Super underage.
yeah, she's like 100 and
100,
some.
yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, I can't go to college. It turns out the mines are gonna swallow my soul, so I can't go to college."
Yeah, they don't have the money. Like they didn't get enough money. No, he didn't get the scholarship because like that's right. He goes.
No,
to take
they can't they can't afford the tuition. They didn't make enough.
Yeah, but he also says there's
he's gonna get the scholarship taken away from him because you have to reapply every year for it.
Yeah, that's right.
Tamir runs to the Vulcan ship, takes a piece of Vulcan technology
Yep.
called Velcro,
I love this. This is great.
and he sells it to Big Creek Manufacturing and Sales Company in downtown Pittsburgh.
Is it Pittsburgh or Philly?
It's Pittsburgh.
Man, she takes a fucking long ass train ride. If this is near Doylestown, that's like 7-hour train ride, dude.
She is sitting on the train for a while, but like, why didn't she go to Philly?
I always thought it was Philly.
I guess because Velcro was invented in Pittsburgh is probably why.
Is that why?
But she sells it and makes this shit ton of money and just puts it in the jar. Doesn't even tell him. She's like, "I'm a mysterious benefactor."
I like how she walks out with wads of 50s.
Yep, that's like $1 billion at that point.
Yeah.
Mistral is like, "I'm not going home. Like, I want to study the species. They're all my best friends now. I'm gonna find out what human vagina feels like."
For sure. For sure.
And Tamir's like, "Oh, you fucking just want to be with your bitch."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Nah, there are bitches all over the planet I can learn about and study."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Well, I guess I can't make you."
Yeah, she kind of like gives in at this point, and like you kind of see her like beginning to get it, right? And T'Pol is the same way, like on the Enterprise, like she's a raging awful Vulcan bitch, where she's just like, "That's not how we do it. You humans are morons."
She is a
Yeah.
little like Vulcan supremacist when she
Yeah,
first shows up, which
exa-
is
and- yeah.
a fun like dichotomy with Archer, who's very humanocentric at the beginning of the series.
He resents them for lots of personal reasons and shit. But yeah, she like eventually kind of like gives in, I guess. I don't know if it's giving in is the right word, but she like kind of begins to like see
she like starts to understand why he wants to stay here, and she like allows it because of that.
Yeah.
And when the actual like ship shows up to pick him up, she lies and she's like, "Oh, Mistral and the captain died in the crash, and we cremated their bodies."
Yeah.
And
which is a lie.
Strawn looks at her like, "Wow, you fucking lying bitch.
You fucking are making me so Ponfar right now."
Ponfar's coming early this 7 years, Tamir. But we flash back to the Enterprise, and Trip and Archer are like, "What?"
Yeah, they're like, "Next thing you're gonna tell me," I can't do as good a Trip as you. "Next thing you're gonna tell me that Neil Armstrong was the first man on the moon."
She's like, "Maybe he wasn't." And he's
like, "Oh, motherfucker."
He's like, "You're blowing my mind, you green-blooded bitch."
"Damn it, lady, you're going crazy."
Shazam.
"I hope I get to stick it in later."
But like, they're like, "That can't be real, right?" She's like, "You asked me to tell you a story."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh my god, we got fucking punked."
"Captain, I think she put one over on us."
Ooh, boy.
And he takes the 6-gun out and he shoots in the air again.
And he fucking rears back on his horse. T'Pol goes back to her quarters, and it's a silent moment. Everything seems quiet and still, and she pulls out Tamir's 1950s Earth purse.
Which is a really nice old purse. It's got like what's it called? Like Bakelite on it. It's like this, like, it's not Bakelite, but it's like this plastic they used to like make like things back then. It's like early plastic.
It's got a nice pattern on it too.
It's probably worth like real lots of money in real life.
Probably. I mean, now that it's been on Star Trek, they probably sold it in that It's a Wrap auction for like $1 billion.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, no, I love that, like, she like carries it with her, right? Like it means something to her, and it's almost like prophetic, right? Like I'm always like, does she really secretly like humanity? Because why would she keep the purse?
She does.
Right?
She's got that like memory of her past. There might be a part of her when she started out that thought Tamir was like maybe kind of traitorous,
right?
For letting Mistral go. I just found out a really fucking great John Larroquette fun fact of the week.
Okay, what is it?
Velcro was invented in 1955 by George de Mistral.
What?
Da-na-na-na-na-na.
No way!
That's where Mistral got his name.
That's incredible!
I love that.
That's amazing. That blew my fucking mind, dude.
It blew mine too when I scrolled down. I
didn't know that.
Thank you, Wiki, that I always read. Oh shit, I shouldn't have told people that.
So did she like say that her name was like? Did she say my husband invented it? You know what I mean?
My husband,
like,
George de Mistral.
Yeah. Wow, that's a real. This episode is great. This is a great
fucking episode. The scenes in this town were filmed in Crestline, California.
Yeah, like Northern California. Yeah, it's too beautiful for Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania kind of looks like that, but they kind of make it look like winter, but it's like super shitty in the winter here. It doesn't look like sunny like that, you know?
Yeah.
It's like there's no sun here in the winter.
What a great fucking episode of Star Trek, though.
Do you want to take a break and we'll come back with our final boners about it?
Yeah, we'll come back and just suck its dick right off after these messages.
I'm getting my lips ready.
Nerf, the Vulcan EDF-25, the largest full-auto Nerf blaster. Up to 3 darts per second. Belt fed. Rapid fire action. The Nerf Vulcan EDF-25. Each blaster and suction dart sold separately. Batteries not included.
And we're back with our final thoughts about the episode. Josh, how do you feel about Enterprise Carbon Creek?
I love this episode. I've talked about it many times. I think this episode shows you how good this show can be. And this season is generally considered not a very good season, season 2. But I think if you watched it at home and you liked it, and you were iffy about Enterprise, get on that Enterprise shit.
Yeah. I had never seen all of Enterprise before. And I'm watching through all of it now. I've just seen giant swaths of it. I'd never seen all of it. So
Yeah.
I'm watching through all of that bad boy now. Not just because of this episode. I was already doing that. But
Where are you? What episode are you on?
I think I haven't watched in a while since I've been like jumping around through TOS and Deep Space Nine again. I think the last one I was on was 21
Of season 2?
Season 1.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I started over.
Yeah, that's cool. I think it's worth the journey, man. Like it is a journey, and you see where they were gonna go with it, and it's a shame, it's a crime, honestly, that it didn't get to be 7 seasons like they like to do. I think we would have seen a lot of really cool Romulan shit. It would have been nice to see that.
Oh man, that would have been great. The thing is, like, people say Enterprise's fate was because of just the glut of Star Trek shit that was available at the time.
Yeah.
Like, it was just overload.
It was a bad time for TV. TV was sort of going through like a phase.
There's definitely some growing pains there as like television in that time period was like slowly trying to become more than just like episodic.
Yeah, like after this, like right during this time, you get Lost, and Lost, like as much as like the first 2 seasons of Lost are great, and as much as that show like is like, in my opinion, like really bad at the end, it really did like change the way people thought of television, where these shows were huge, right? Like that's without Lost, you don't get like Game of Thrones, you know, they're like movies.
In a weird way, it's like they did this before in the early 90s where they did the miniseries.
Yeah.
They did like miniseries that were just movies that were broken up into episodes, and at some point like, in the early 2000s they were like, we can do this for a whole show.
Right. And the problem was like people weren't willing to pay for that. I think every episode of Lost cost like $14 million, which is like absurd.
That's insane for TV.
But like, yeah, but like now it's like whatever, right? Like,
yeah, and like that might
like,
be why everybody has a streaming service now, though.
Yeah. But that's when you get like really good television, at least like half decent television. Where like in this period, shows were terrible. There was just shit.
Do you remember? Television. I think it was like around the late 90s, early 2000s. La Femme Nikita.
Yeah, it was on USA like all the time.
And like that show was the most ridiculous fucking show where like they were just terrorists that like we'd put a bomb in a fucking pregnant lady.
Yeah.
And it was just the most ridiculous shit. You know, like NBC still has shows like that on to this day.
Oh yeah, no, like there's like boomer shows on still, where like it's for dumb boomers who like love America.
We watch Jeopardy. Is that on NBC?
It's on ABC.
ABC. Well, what's The Voice on? Is that ABC or NBC?
Oh my god, NBC, I think.
Yeah, so it's like after The Voice goes off, because my wife loves The Voice.
Yeah.
And it's all right. I mean, I got.
Does she watch The Masked Singer?
Yeah, she did actually. That show. That show was like so. Like I like that show.
It's a fever dream, dude.
In one hand, but it is a fever dream, and also like they tried so hard to make you think it was bigger stars than it actually was.
Yeah, it's all D-list bullshit.
Yeah, they were like, maybe it's what's the one that really fucking made me laugh? They were like, maybe it's Jamie Foxx.
Sure, yeah.
And I was like, Jamie Foxx is in a movie right now.
Yeah,
it's not
Foxx
Jamie
is like
Foxx.
A Grammy and Oscar-winning guy. He's not gonna be on The Masked Singer.
And they were like, oh no, it's actually a football player.
Yeah.
Or oh no, it's actually
Ken Jeong I saw was on it, right?
Ken Jeong is like funny when he plays roles. Have you ever heard his stand-up?
Dude, his stand-up, I watched like 5 minutes of it, and I was like, I can't with this.
It was the worst stand-up I've ever seen. Like, I've been to open mic nights that people were better, who'd never been on stage before. I was shocked.
He's great at playing that character, but that character, like, stops after a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's not like Andy Kaufman, right? Where he's like doing it to the point where you're like, this is crazy. It's just annoying.
There was like,
while.
if you only watched 5 minutes into it, you didn't even get to the part where he told jokes.
No, that's why I stopped, because I was like, this is just him being like, oh, that guy, right?
Yeah.
Where he's like, I'm excited, and it's like, yeah, man, like, okay.
Like, he doesn't tell a joke until 15 minutes into his stand-up special. And at that point, I was like, I gotta turn this off.
Why did they edit it? Why did they just cut that shit out of it?
Because it's so funny. The girls have the same name as his wife.
Oh, yeah, okay.
His wife's name is Ho.
He works. Yeah. He works the crowd. Is that what he does for 15
He started
minutes?
making a lot of jokes about how small his dick was.
I feel like we're like ragging on Ken Jeong, even though like I like him.
I like him a lot. I think
he's really funny.
He's
Yeah.
a great host of things. He's been like like on a judge panel for a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
He's great at that. He's awesome as an actor. He's a great comedic actor.
Yes.
Just the stand-up was bad.
Yeah, he said it's his first one, but it's like, I mean, it's your first one, man. You might
You might not want to do your special as your first one.
Yeah, you might want to like tour a little bit or something. Yeah,
Anybody can do stand-up.
that's right. That's right. It's so easy.
Anyway, this episode, Carbon Creek,
Starring Ken Jeong.
starring Ken Jeong as Tamir.
Oh, that's where I recognized her.
I really love this episode. This is my favorite episode of Enterprise I've seen so far.
It's probably my favorite one. There's a couple of good. Minefield is really good.
Minefield is good. I really like the one, I forget the name of it, the one where the Tellarite smuggler like
Yeah, the
kidnaps
bounty
Archer.
hunter guy. Yeah, that one's good.
I really love that one because I love
That one's good.
Tellarites.
Yeah, the actor who plays that Tellarite is cool. He's in a bunch of shit too. I don't know his name. This episode is one of my favorites of the entire series. It's a time travel episode that doesn't have time travel in it. It's cleverly done. It's a breakaway episode and it's done in a clever way, right? Like they don't have to like go anywhere and explain why they're there. They're on Earth again. It's a nice like grounded episode.
Oh yeah, and it's definitely not the type of episode that you watch where they're just on Earth or an Earth-like planet, and you're like, come on, be like more original,
Right,
Because this
yeah.
makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
To do like let's tell this little untold story about Vulcans and humans.
Right. It's really well done. I love it, and it feels good. It's not too ridiculous. It's not too not ridiculous. You know what I mean?
It's got its jokes. It's got its little wink, wink, nod, nods, but
Yeah.
it's not too up its own ass at all.
Right.
I love Vulcans, and this
Yep.
is like one of the
There's
only.
3 of them.
This is one of like the only times in Enterprise that I've seen so far where any Vulcan is portrayed in a purely positive light.
Yeah.
It's just Mistral.
Mistral is a great character. You like love him. You're like, this guy rules.
Yeah, Mistral is great, and like you
Yeah.
love him because at this point you've seen so much of like the bad side of Vulcans that when you finally get that Spock-like good side of
Yeah.
Vulcans, that you're like, yeah, I love this
Feels
guy.
good. Yeah. Yeah,
wish-
you're kind of expecting that with T'Pol, right? But the show throws a wrench in that. Like you don't get the Spock Vulcan. She's completely different.
Which
But
is
the dynamic,
good.
it is good, but the dynamic is there to set up. It's really one of the more clever prequel things I've ever seen done, like where they're like, we're gonna raise your expectations, you know what I mean? And like, but it still sets up later relationships, like with Kirk and Spock, where you're like,
Oh, yeah.
there's like a tradition of like this being a thing sometimes, right? Where Vulcans are the first officer to a human, and they have this relationship, but it's just slightly different with her.
I love the parallels. The parallels
Yeah.
are great. Like T'Pol is
It's like
definitely
poetry.
It rhymes, and hopefully it'll work. It's like T'Pol is much more of like she's got a much harder edge as a character. She still has that sort of like Vulcan pride, that like Vulcan center of the universe ideals.
Yeah, humans are dummies. She's a Vulcan. She's not a dummy, right?
She's like, and when you look at like, there's only 3 Vulcans that are really, or 4 Vulcans who are really different characters from each other. and that's T'Pol, Tuvok, Spock, and Sarek.
Yeah.
Every other Vulcan you see is just one of those four. Usually it's just Spock again.
Right.
And, like, Spock is much more... Like, Tuvok's difference from Spock is that Tuvok is not the type of guy who deals with foolishness in any way, shape, or form. He shuts it down immediately.
Yeah. He's like above that. He's like a grandfather. He's very grandfatherly.
He's very no nonsense. Like Spock likes wordplay. He likes to like get the dig in when somebody says something against him. Like he loves the banter he gets back and forth with Bones.
Yeah. It's a game, right? It's like chess. It's like nerd chess.
It is. It's like fucking nerd-ass, disgusting chess. Virgin chess. Like, but Spock is... That's sort of his human side peeking through, right? Mm-hmm. And Sarek is like an angry dad.
Yeah, he's everyone's dad when your dad comes home and you hear him be in a bad mood before you see him.
Oh yeah, Sarek is fucking like disappointed dad, the Vulcan.
Sarek's dad is like everybody's like ex-girlfriend's dad. where you're like, I don't think I'm gonna go over there today.
He's just like stern 100%. Like, already annoyed with your shit, already tired of it.
Yep.
I love Sarek.
He's great, but he's great because, again, like, he plays a role in, like, Spock's story. You're right, though, there aren't too many, like, well-thought-out Vulcans, and I think Mistral is, like, pretty well done. That dude could be a Vulcan in a show. Like, I would watch that.
Oh, I'd watch the hell out of that. He's a great character. I love the idea of a Vulcan who's obsessed with humans.
Yeah, I would love to see, like, his life in, like, the 70s, and he's got, like, a Vulcan afro to cover his ears.
Does he just wear that hat forever, do you think?
Maybe he gets, like, plastic surgery, right? Maybe. He, like... is like, oh my, I have a birth defect, and he goes and they do it.
Maybe in the 80s he gets the plastic surgery. But that's the thing. Like when I wrote like a character, and I was gonna do like some stories with like who was a security chief.
Yeah.
And on board the ship he served on, there was a Vulcan medical officer who was, like, obsessed with humans. Mm-hmm. But, like, in the same way that a scientist is obsessed with, like, ant colonies.
Right, like
they're just, like, weirdo creatures that she loves studying.
Yeah. I like the idea that, like, a Vulcan can't be emotional, so they make up reasons to, like, your doctor is really, like, into humans, like, in more of like a personal way, but like that's un-Vulcan, so she has to like pretend it's scientific.
Oh yeah, that was exactly
it. Yeah.
And like that's sort of the thing that I love about Sarek, especially, is like he obviously loves human women. Like he has a thing for human women.
He also lives his entire life on Earth. He's there all the fucking time,
and he just talks about like it's logical. He found a certain logic in their pairing. That's his only reason.
Right,
he won't go into it any deeper.
Which is like both the biggest cop-out ever, but also the biggest compliment for a Vulcan.
Yeah.
If a Vulcan says you're logical, you're in, dude. Like, yeah. I don't know.
I love Vulcans. They're my favorite. I love how different Vulcans are from humans, but how, like, deep down we're the exact same.
Yeah.
We just arrived at who we are at different paths. Very different paths.
Yeah, the paths at this point in Star Trek history are very diverged. And it takes a while to get back on the same kind of pathway where we're, like, working together. And we can see the benefit. I love it. I love the Vulcan-human relationship. I think it's very humanistic. It's very... complementary to both things.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's not the one is better, this one's worse, you know.
We become like best friends forever with Vulcans at a certain point.
Yeah.
Like you see it in all the other Star Trek series where there's usually Vulcans working with humans, but you don't see Andorians or Tellarites very much.
Right.
If I'm gonna like extrapolate why that is, it's because hey, Vulcans are our best friends, dude. Like, you're invited over too, but
It could be because their ears are cheaper, but it also because I like yours. I
they're
subscribe to that.
unbelievably cheaper to make than Andorians and Tellarites.
Yeah, it's way cheaper. But also, I like that idea that, like, I mean, you see in Enterprise that Andorians and humans also share a common understanding.
Oh yeah.
Humans are sort of the glue, right? We tend to, in Star Trek universe, like, we're sort of the, like, guild leader, right? Like, we kind of get everyone together and we say, like, all right, we're going to go do this. And everyone else is sort of like, well, I don't like this guy. Well, I don't like this guy.
We're the Lion-O of the Thundercats.
right.
We're not the best at anything, but without us, there's no leader. There's no cohesion to the team.
Yeah, but I like that, and you're right, like, you'll see later on that, like, I think Vulcans and humans, like, sort of owe each other a lot for various reasons. And
for sure.
It's a very, like, England America, well, what used to be England and America relationship.
Yeah, not anymore so much.
Well, hopefully. I mean, I still like England, so I don't
like
know.
England. A lot of Americans don't because they're whatever.
I like them. I want to be their friends again. I love those guys.
I want to be friends with everybody on Earth, honestly.
Yeah.
It'd be great if we could do that. Just make the fucking Earth gov.
Yeah, well, that's, yep.
People were terrified of that, though. The idea that we're going to be one government. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I guess, like, I'd be terrified if that one government was, like, a horrible totalitarian
Well, if
regime.
it was like China, that would be bad, right? But if it's like...
If it was like America, that would be bad.
Well, if it was like America now, it would be bad.
Yeah.
But if it was like, we had like a Bill of Rights that was like more than the Bill of Rights that we have, also the Bill of Rights that we have is being ignored as... Anyway, that's
you can
a
just
whole
ignore
other
whatever.
fucking- Yeah, that's
Welcome
a
to
whole
our
other-
politics podcast. So at the end of the day, Carbon Creek is an exemplary episode of Enterprise. It's probably not the best introduction since the whole cast isn't in it.
Yeah, but it's also good because like Hoshi's on.
I don't mind looking at Hoshi.
Hoshi's character is like...
She's like everybody else on the ship who is not one of the three characters in this episode. They just exist.
Yeah. Anyway, they play up her like she's afraid of stuff. Like she's like a kid, right? Like she's unsure of herself. And I don't like that I don't like that in women, and I don't like that in characters so much because
I really don't like that in a Starfleet officer.
Yeah.
Like whether or not she's an ensign or not, she's a Starfleet officer.
Right. You have to go through certain things to, you know what I mean? You have to be competent a little bit.
Yeah. It doesn't make much sense, but I mean,
You know.
it is what it is. The show's been over for ages. She's very pretty.
She is beautiful.
She's a very beautiful lady. Watch Carbon Creek if you haven't. I don't know why you'd listen to this, like a 2-hour-long podcast, 8-hour-long podcasts. However many pieces of this shit we put together to make a podcast.
Little full disclosure, we had a lot of problems making this one.
Yeah, like the servers were talking to each other on disconnected. The fucking like Audacity stopped working.
Yeah.
It sucks a dick, but we're putting up with it for you guys.
We did it. We made it. Let's get out of here before it stops.
You can follow us on Twitter at mclasspodcast. You can shoot us an email at mclasspodcast@gmail.com, and you could follow us with your money on patreon.com/mclasspodcast.
Vote with your paper money that the Vulcans don't know about.
You don't tell the Vulcans. Don't tell Vulcan. We'll see you next time.
Is that like your game, like your childhood rainy
It's like,
day game?
Don't tell Daddy, the game.
Oh yeah,
Don't tell Vulcan.
That's a weird name for it. I don't like that.
I don't
name.
like that name at all.
Don't tell Daddy. It's like very, especially with the current state of porn. Anyway, let's go.
Completely dodging that. We'll be back next week with more M-Class Podcast.
Bye, Daddy.
Oh no. Bye-bye.
I'm mentally ill.